This podcast is brought to you by IWI. IWI has been knocking it out of the park lately with new products. Just this year, I've gotten the opportunity to try out the Masada Tactical and Masada Slim pistols, both in 9mm and both optics ready. The Zion pistol, which is their AR-15 pattern model, and the Gen 2 Galil Ace in 7.62 by 39. From first round hits at 500 yards from a 12.5-inch barrel in the Zion to summer carry with the Masada Slim, I'm freaking impressed. I can't get over how many changes and upgrades IWI has made from the first gen to the second gen Galil Ace. Most notably, it now has a free float handguard. IWI supports the shooting sports at a massive level, and they support the podcast. Next time you need a new blaster, I highly recommend IWI. This episode of the Three Gun Show is brought to you by Isotune Sport, the next generation of hearing protection. I love their Ear Pro. I wear the Advance or the Caliber models when I'm shooting, which are in-ear, and I wear the Defy muffs when other people are shooting, like rifles. If I'm standing to the side, there's a muzzle brake or something like that. All of those models have their tactical sound control technology, which allows you to hear range commands and what's going on around you, but suppress gunshots. And one feature I had no idea I'd use so much is Bluetooth. I can be a little set in my ways, so I didn't think I needed Bluetooth in my Ear Pro. But with Isotune Sport, you can actually listen to music or a podcast and hear what is going on around you so you're not taken by surprise. Because of that, the Advance not only go with me to the range, but they have become my go-tos for the gym and walking around my neighborhood. They've lasted countless 30-minute sessions in 134-degree heat in the sauna, and they're still kicking. My hearing is important to me, and yours should be important to you too. Thanks to Isotune Sport for supporting the shooting sports and sponsoring the show. Be sure to check them out to upgrade your Ear Pro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Third Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman. And in this podcast here, we've got our buddy Adam Reiser back, and we do a real-time breakdown of Adam's stages at Hard as Hell. Hard as Hell took a little break, came back. We talk about it here in the show, and we do have video that accompanies this. So if you're listening to this, use the theater of the mind, as they like to call it in the old-timey radio, and imagine what we're talking about. But if you're a visual person, head on over to the Three Gun Show YouTube channel, and we'll have the video there. So what you'll see on the YouTube channel is actual stages from Hard as Hell that Adam shot and filmed, and then we do a real-time breakdown. And so if you're in a place where you need to learn how to analyze your own videos, or you just want to see what Hard as Hell was all about, you're going to love this episode. Adam, welcome back to the show, buddy.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you too, man. Pumped to talk to you here. Hard as Hell. Wait, what do they call it? Revigorization?
I don't remember what they call it.
Resurrection. That's what it was.
Resurrection. There you go.
I almost said Resurgence, but that was old JP match that was in New Mexico.
Yeah. That was a totally different thing. That was bringing back the Soldier of Fortune match.
For sure. So
yeah, Hard as Hell's back, baby.
That's exciting, man. And under PCSL rules, we had a couple different types of divisions that we normally don't see at Hard as Hell. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then each of them had like a modifier for bump gear. I forgot what they call that. Is that like
kit? So
that's even a different name, right? It used to be something else.
Yeah. I think so. It's so the different divisions in this one, they had so practical, which is a carryover from Max's 2-gun PCSL division.
And so does that affect the rifle and the pistol? Because I was trying to figure out like what the divisions were. So I've got the winners up here.
So in practical, basically it's a slide ride dot, or essentially you can have a dot, but it has to be a slide ride, and you can't have a comp. Those are pretty much the only pistol rules. Okay. And then the rifle rules, when we did the PCSL conversation, all that was in there, but it's basically like,
just refresh me.
No comps. So there's some flash hiders, and there's a bunch of sort of gray area there. Full mass bolt carrier, suppressors and stuff are okay. And that's like pretty much it. You can run offset dots, like pretty much whatever you want. It's just a little bit more like duty specific rifle.
Okay.
So that's practical division.
Wait, hang on. What's the shotgun? So this is a 3-gun match. So what the
so
rules
the shotgun is really interesting. I might butcher this, but I think you're going to be pretty close. Basically tube fed shotgun. I believe practical had a 8 rounds in the tube limit.
Okay.
So they were trying to keep like javelin style shotguns out of it, or at least not have an advantage for like a 12 round tube, which I'm all about. But you can have dots on them.
Okay.
A lot of like kind of SWAT / tactical shotguns have dots on them. So
yeah, like Benelli M4 kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. So there was a lot of like red dots on the shotguns in there. Then what were the other divisions? So TAC was a division, which is like basically TAC as we know it for regular 3 guns. So iron sight, iron sight shotgun, iron sight pistol, irons on the shotgun, long tube, like the 3 gun that we know and love and have forever. So it's in there essentially like as a division. And then open, which
unlimited
got switched to unlimited. So there's a distinction in the rule set. If you call it open, it sort of means one thing. If you call it unlimited, it means another thing.
Oh god.
So it kind of makes sense. So it's actually competition division or unlimited division. It's neither one of them are open. But competition division for regular PCSL, like there's no bags, there's no bipods, things along those lines. So that it kind of keeps the accessory race from getting out of control. And then there's a mag length limit on the pistol to 140. And so unlimited pretty much means there's no rules. So
for hard as hell, they just decided like whatever you want to bring.
Like, if you can wheel it to the start line, you can go. The one stipulation was all of your gear had to start on you, so you couldn't like stage tripods and that kind of shenanigans. So that.
What do you think about that?
I think that was a great rule.
I think that's a good rule too.
I think staging a tripod, so like outside of like the Parma team match, which is just like you empty your gun room into the truck and you drive up there and you use everything on every stage. Like it's its own special flavor of chaos, which I love. With that makes sense. But for all of the matches, I think staging gear doesn't make any sense. I like the idea of, like I can see maybe on some stages, like staging a mag on a barrel or something like that. But having a staged tripod is just dumb. That's just dumb.
Was it USPSA Multi-Gun Nationals? There was like a stage that was in a bay, but there were like 3 stage tripods that just like the entire open squad went through. I think that's kind of silly.
Yeah. It's very silly and it should not be a thing.
Yeah. So you won that division. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then, so last division was Ladies Unlimited.
Yep. So exactly what it sounds like. It's just unlimited division, but just for ladies.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So that okay, got the divisions out of the way. The match not typically, but the 2 years that I've shot it is like huge, long stages, lots of things to do that are not shooting on a stage, and then just like a ton of targets. And by the end, you're really, really winded.
Yeah. That's it was that. It was definitely that. I mean, this is let's see. I think this is the 6th hardest hell that I've shot, and it's been pretty much like the other ones were. So I would say average stage times on most stages were about 200 seconds. If you dipped under 200 seconds on your stage time, it was almost certainly a top 5. I don't think there were any winning stage times that were under 100. There might have been a couple in like the 110s for like winning stage times overall in a match, but
wow.
For like all the divisions. So like big stages, a lot of people, timing out on 300 second stages. But yeah, a lot of like plan on 200 seconds when the buzzer goes off for most people for sure. So big stages, a lot of carrying stuff, a lot of dragging things, a lot of climbing and stuff, shoot houses, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that here. So typically after a match, you do like a video breakdown. I thought it'd be fun to do it live on the show here. So I asked you to provide videos, and we've got your YouTube channel up, and we're gonna be watching the videos from that. So I'm pumped to do that. So Hard as Hell. It's 2022. We just came out of like a massive ammo shortage, and now we're just like in ammo's expensive because of inflation and stuff like that. But you can still get ammo. What was round count like?
Oh man, I'm not sure. I'd have to guess, but I shot probably close to a case of shotgun ammo. Probably, I think minimum round count on slugs was like 10, which everybody who's at the match and knows what happened is laughing very hard right now. Probably like
the minimum round count is always something reasonable for slugs.
No, specifically because of something that I did. About 10 slugs. Like if you shot extremely well, got you through. About 12-ish buckshot, if you shot extremely well, got you through. I bet I shot 30-ish or so. No more than that. Probably like 40 to 50 like precision long range ammo. At least 200, if not 300 regular burner rifle, and probably about the same for pistol. So I'd say like heavy round count for 3-gun. Maybe not quite as crazy as like 2017 Hard as Hell, where you'd go into a bay and burn like 3 pistol mags. Yeah. Like not quite that rowdy, but like pretty darn close.
Or what year was it the D60 came out? And so of course, Brian had to have like 62 rounds.
Yeah, he had a
on one stage.
And shoot house stage. Like, oh, you need a D60 and a reload to a 35 to get you through the stage if you don't miss anything.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Those were the days, man. 29 cent, 5.56.
Oh man, I miss it. I miss it badly.
Yeah. So, and in different ranges here, right?
Yeah, so this one is out at the Cobalt range. So still in St. George, just kind of out at the other end of town. The government forced / directed rebuild of the Sups range has pretty much ruined it for any fun big 3-gunny stuff. They basically, when they drew the lines for the bays, they didn't take into account the fact that when you build walls up, they also go out, and the berms there are, I bet they're like 20 feet tall. It is humongous berms. Like you don't get sunlight for most of the day. And if you build 20 feet up, you got 10 feet of berm on each side filling up the bay. So they would take what would normally be like a pretty reasonable like 50-yard bay, and it's now like 20 yards deep and 10 yards wide. It's just they've ruined it. It's fine for like little quick and dirty pistol matches and stuff like that, but it needs some real love.
Yeah, it's a shame because it was a fantastic range, but it just like everything government touches, it fucks up.
Yeah,
you know, like, we've been building dirt piles for hundreds of thousands of years as monkeys and humans. The pyramids, for fuck's sake, like you can look at them and see that they're as wide on the base as they are tall.
Yeah, 100%.
And somehow they just drew the engineering lines with a pencil and are like, yeah, these will be, 50 yards apart without taking up the 40 yards that were taken up by the dirt.
But the new Cobalt range is super good. Very much like the old Sups range. There's a good handful of big bays there, a bunch of cars, a shoot house, tons of natural terrain. It's a fantastic range.
Yeah, it looks better and better every time I see a match from there. Like it just seems like new areas are being exposed or something. Like
they're continuing to build on it. So they have some really interesting bays. Like the bay that has all the cars in it is probably like 50 yards deep and like 130 yards wide, maybe. Mm-hmm. So like kind of, shallow in the grand scheme of like humongous bays, but like super wide. And then they got a bunch of 50, like 30, 50, 75, 100 yard bays. They got a weird little like corner thing going back where you could, in theory, do kind of like a 360 bay in the back. And then there's a bunch of like sort of gullies that lead off into the distance where you can do like some pretty cool natural terrain stuff.
Yeah, the gullies I thought were kind of cool. That's not, I mean, I guess I had seen a couple of them before, but I thought maybe like those were off limits. And it just seems like every match that is out there, there's more areas being shot.
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that?
So there were not at all. There were 8 stages, and I think let's see, stages 1, 2, 3 is in the bay. Down below, 4 of the 8 stages were like natural terrain, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them had kind of like a little base stage start to it, and then like went out into a field.
So this in South St. George, is that right?
Yeah, it's like southeast St. George.
Southeast.
So you sort of drive down kind of like where the TPC range used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's right on the Arizona border. So like that dotted line, like basically where your cursor's at right now.
Okay,
it's
cool.
It's about there-ish.
Well, I wanted to show people this because
in fact, where it says Blackout, Utah, that's it.
That's it right there.
Yep.
So we're gonna go to the
satellite view.
Yeah, because I found something after I talked to either you or Brian the last time that I thought was hilarious. So, there it is right there, right?
Yep. That's exactly it.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this I thought was hilarious. They've got this berm wall right here.
Mm-hmm.
That is the state line.
It is the border. Yeah.
They're stopping rounds from going into Arizona, which I thought was kind of hilarious.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That was stage 4 down there.
Yeah. They've had some massive improvements from the first time I looked at this image. So that's pretty cool that they're continuing to improve the range.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a good facility there.
So what'd you think of Hard as Hell run under PCSL rules?
I thought it was great. I mean, I like the divisions, everyone's kind of leaning towards dots on pistols. Open still open. There's still attack division for people who just want to like stick in that like kind of more traditional 3-gun world. And then, a lot of people kind of out there like just running their kit essentially, which falls into that practical division. And the only thing is that they didn't change is the scoring. So it was PCSL targets, and they're kind of like, white cardboard equals rifle, brown cardboard equals pistol, blue steel is pistol, white steel is rifle. Like everything's super easily identifiable. So like you walk out on your stage, you're like, oh, I shoot all that stuff with pistol, all that stuff with rifle, and that stuff with a shotgun.
That's cool.
And so, yeah, all that was really great. But it was just a normal like time plus points. So just like total time for your stage, and then the stage winner gets 100% and then, or 100 points. And then it kind of like trickles down from there. And I think I'm completely speculating here, but my guess is that is a combination of scoring that many targets would take an eternity. And also like, how do you score? I mean, there's a way to do it, but buckshot targets, slug targets, flying clays, falling steel. And then on a some 200-second stage with a bunch of running and dragging, like every stage would be like a 0.7 hit factor stage.
Yeah.
So if you dropped to Charlie, it would be like 3 seconds, so it's like,
well, and I think that makes it more, I guess, accessible to people that are typical 3-gunners, right? Because then that's what they're used to. Whereas like PCSL does have a learning curve for a lot of us Luddites who typically shoot 3-gun and occasionally shoot USPSA with hit factor scoring, right? Yeah.
And I think it's a good place to cut it off. I think it makes sense to have 3-gun just be time plus, and then just have PCSL be, like a hit factor ish, like points per second scored type thing. I mean, you could certainly make it where it was, like you have a small time penalty for a Charlie or a Delta or something like that, and do it pretty easy. The one thing that did get quite a few people in PCSL rules, if you get that head box, like the scoring zone inside the head box is a 1-shot neutralization, but 1 alpha is not. So it's not like 1 alpha or 2 anywhere. You need 2 unless it's in the head.
Interesting.
And it's not even the whole head box. It's just that like K zone.
Yeah, the little K zone. Yeah. What do they call that? The ocular nasal triangle or something like that?
I'm sure there's some super tactical, Travis Haley like saying for it about proprioception response to whatever, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, proprioception area is what I think they call it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So okay, last question on PCSL, and then let's dive into some videos unless you got anything here. But typically not typically, but like one of the stated I guess reasons for starting PCSL was to bring more practical shooters into a match and have them test their skills in an area that is not just like a square range and, just, bang and steal for time and stuff like that. And so because of that, PCSL seems to bring a lot of people that we don't typically see in like the competition circles. And it is a draw for practical shooters, right? So I guess it's just tactical, right? Tactical. Can we just say that? The tactical type shooter, typical tactical type shooter, now getting out to a match and they're being called practical. So my question is, did you see that at this match too? Were there people that were, making crossover from the typical PCSL crowd?
Yeah, 100%. So one of the interesting things at this match that happened as a result of a staffing shortage, so they didn't have enough staff to staff 8 stages at the same time. And so what they ended up doing was they ran a on-off schedule where you worked your off schedule. So this is a long way to answer your question, but I'm getting there. So like we shot, we started on stage 3 and we started in the morning. So when our squad shot, we didn't have to do any reset for the entire time our squad shot. So you were just shooting. So you shoot, talk to your friends, walk the stage, like load your mags, do all your stuff. You're just shooting. Then when your squad's done shooting, you stay on that stage. The squad that was just resetting now shoots, and they only shoot, and your squad does all the resetting, which was really cool. Like,
you like that?
It was awesome because when you're shooting, it's not like, oh shit, I need to run back there and stuff some mags because I was out here setting this target and I didn't hear that I'm on deck. Like, you're just hanging out, getting in the zone, doing your thing, getting ready and shooting. And then when it's time to work, you just work. And then when you move to the next stage, you go back to shooting and then you go back to working. And it was fantastic. I loved it. They did it because they're like, hey, we don't have enough staff to run all these stages. So we're going to kind of combine every 2 squads into like one big squad and like make it work. And it actually turned out to be like one of my favorite things about the way the match was run.
So is that like an inadvertent breakthrough there?
It's kind of something that Brian's been wanting to do for a while.
Okay.
So he shot a bunch in Europe, and that's, over there's always something along these lines where when you're shooting, you're just doing the shooting part. So sometimes you'll have like a whole day where you work the staff match, or a lot of times it'll just be like, there's paid staff that resets. But when you're shooting over there, you just shoot. And so he's been kind of trying to bring something like this for a while. And I think this is just like, hey, this is a good opportunity to do this where it just logistically works out that this is kind of the only way we're going to be able to do it. And then, in the stages, the stages were really well designed that like reset was actually pretty minimal for the amount of like craziness going on with the shooting.
Yeah.
So it was pretty easy, especially with like a whole squad shooting, because you're also not down the guy in the hole, the guy on deck, the guy shooting, and the guy who just shot. So that's 4 people out of what might be an 8-person squad. So instead of 4 people resetting, you have your whole squad of 8 resetting, and you can really get into a rhythm where it's like, I'm going to walk out there, I'm going to set those 4 pieces on the right, tape those 2 pieces, and put that star back together. Like, that's my job. I'm going to do that every time. And your squad just kind of like, everybody sort of figures out like what they're doing, and it becomes a super efficient thing. So when somebody's like walking back off the line, the whole stage is done, and they can just start the next shooter. So anyways, our kind of sister squad that traveled with us was all LA County police and SWAT. The whole squad. Like, everybody's in their full kit across the board. Actually, I listened in on Tom Bush having like a 20-minute conversation with one of the guys, explaining to him that, so the guy just like assumed I have dots on everything. That means I'm in open or unlimited. And Tom Bush was like, hey man, I saw that you're in this, all of your stuff fits into practical. You should change your registration to practical. And the guy's like, well, it doesn't matter because blah, blah, blah. And Tom's like, well, I mean, if you're in practical, you'll be shooting at the same stuff. You'll have a better understanding of where you fall skill wise relative to these other people. And it was hilarious because the part that I walked up on is the guy going, well, I'm not one of those guys that air quotes engages targets so I don't get the penalties. And like, I'm in it, and you're just like, dude, Tom's trying to help, man. He really knows what he's talking about. You should really listen to him.
And isn't Tom a sheriff?
Yeah. Like, he came from that world. That's how he started in competition shooting, showing up like, I'm going to shoot my kit and I'm not going to pay attention what
exactly
doing. Yeah. And now look at him. He's like, saw the light and he's like, oh, turns out these guys can shoot real well.
Yeah. It's funny. Like I want more people to shoot. I think it's good that people like that come out and shoot matches, but that type of arrogance always makes me laugh so hard because
I worked real hard to keep my giggles in.
So did he shoot unlimited or did he switch to practical?
He stayed in unlimited.
And you whoop his ass, I'm guessing. Do you remember his name? Let's look him up real quick and shame him.
I do. I'm not going to shame him.
Okay. We'll do it after the show.
I know where he ended, and it's not at the top. In fact, there was an award that was given out for quite the opposite finish, and he won that.
Oh, nice. Okay. Stubborn award.
No, the DFL award.
If you're listening to the show and you haven't shot a 3-gun match before or a practical shooting match or whatever, you're interested, definitely go out and shoot. I'm making fun of this guy's arrogance and not his capabilities. I don't give a shit how he shoots. Like Adam always says,
nobody cares how you shoot, but they care how you reset.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's a real truth right there. Nobody cares how you shoot. We just want you to come out and shoot and have fun, stuff like that. But I'm making fun of the guy's arrogance because people are there to help you. And I've been arrogant before when actually, probably still am on a regular basis, but I've been arrogant in my early days of not listening to advice of better shooters and have been humbled and realized like maybe I should listen to those people. Tom Bush, if you don't know him, yeah, maybe you don't want to listen to him, because he sounds like a Nebraska sheriff, right? But
he also had war paint on. So that,
okay, now I'm siding with the cop.
Not gonna lie, if I didn't know who Tom was, I'd be like, "Who is this jackass?"
Now I'm kind of siding with the LA SWAT guy, but
yeah.
But yeah, if you know Tom Bush like we do, he knows what he's talking about. So, and
those guys had like a freaking great time. Like they were so stoked. I mean, like high fives after every run.
Good.
Like shit talk or no shit talk from us. Like they were so stoked, and they all definitely learned a lot. It was awesome. It was super cool to see it. That's
great. Well, good for him. I'm glad that there are those people out there that are getting into matches because of this league that Max has created and the great match that Brian and Max put on. I think it's a really cool thing. So that's awesome. Fantastic. So do we have anything else we want to talk about here, Adam, before we get to videos?
No, let's jump into it.
Dude, let's roll the footage, man. If you're not watching this on the YouTube, you may want to go check it out because we do have Adam Reiser's videos here. Match winner, Adam Reiser. So we're just going to start at stage 1.
So one really important thing I want to point out here before we start these videos, like Dave said, I did win Unlimited Division, but none of the videos look impressive. Like there's no oh man, he's burning it down. The stages here are so big and so complicated that you get done and people are like, how'd you do? And you're like, I don't know. Could have been a stage win. Could have been 50%. It's really hard to say. And so this match is a lot more when you messed up on the stage, did you let that snowball build wreck the whole stage, or did you get your shit back together and finish well? That's what this match is. This match isn't go up there and put down perfection.
Yeah, and there's one point where you do kind of have you get on the struggle bus a little bit and you bring it all back in. So
one point?
There's one specific one I'm thinking about. So I watched all these videos here and there were actually some that I was like, oh Jesus. But, having already seen the scores and knowing that Adam won, I was like, oh, I can't believe this is a winning run. So
there was a lot of struggle bus in this.
Yeah.
So this is the all shotgun stage. Here's my favorite malfunction clear. Popper, claim the air, racket, got the clay. Was very excited about that. We got the woo from Amax.
Yep.
And then so this is you had to crawl through here, which it turns out doing with open shotgun stuff hanging off of you. I got wrapped up like a freaking marlin in a fishing net, and it was really funny because
you're like a dolphin in a tuna net.
Oh my god, it was really bad, and dropped my spare mag, which I ended up needing. But that was pretty much it for bad things in the stage, a couple of makeup shots here and there.
Yeah, we got Taylor following you with the magazine, so we should clarify this is a
mag. Yeah, so you can start with everything. You can't have people like intentionally carry stuff for you, but if you drop stuff, people can pick it up.
Okay.
If a gun goes down, people can run you a gun. There's definitely like quite a bit of that going on.
So it's kind of Iron Man-y, old school type of feel to that.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's very like old school Iron Man, where it's like once the buzzer goes off, like chaos is going to ensure, and you're just kind of like working through it the best you can. I love that she almost ran into me. Right? Yeah. She was trying so hard to have the mag like at the ready, like fully ready to go, and she was Johnny on the spot with that thing. It worked out pretty good.
Yeah, and you look to your right side instead of your left side. That's not tactical. I would just like to point out.
That's not tactical at all. Yeah, I should have definitely looked on the other side.
I can't even see where these slug targets are here that you're shooting
at. That one's quite a poke. That one's like 130 or 140 yards.
I see where it is from the dust.
So
it's right up here.
Yeah, I actually made a pretty bad tactical error here. So I shot right after the sun dipped over the hill. So it went from like full sun in your eyes to sun over the hill, but just. And so what I had done is I had my dot up all the way because I thought I was going to be shooting with the sun in my eyes. And then the sun went down and my dot was actually way too bright. So for all of the steel and flying clays, it was totally fine. For the two slug targets left and right. So there was actually like a no shoot. It was like slug target, no shoot, slug target at like 80 yards. And a lot of people shot that no shoot between them. But then that long slug target, my dot was so bright that my dot was bigger than the target was. So people are like, you're left, you're right, you're blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like covering the target with my dot and just like, I'm in open division now. I got 11 rounds in the mag. And I just, like, just went like full send until I got it. But that was just like, little like tactical error that I made, just like not adjusting like, the light's dimmer now. I don't need my dot at full bright. I should turn this thing down so I have a more precision aiming area for the slug targets.
Yeah, so dots don't solve all problems, apparently.
No, they don't. No, the dots are only as smart as you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so
when properly used.
This stage, oh god damn it. All right.
Are we ready to play?
Yeah, I hit play. So I'm gonna. So listen to the sound. If you guys can all hear this, listen to the sound that these slugs make when they hit the steel.
I heard a boom ting.
Yeah. So go ahead and pause it. So. When I ducked into that and I pressed the trigger on the first one, I was like, wow, that was a really weird sound, but I'm in like a tube of a bunch of barrels. Maybe it's just because I'm in here and everything's super echoey. So I shot the three of them. Turns out the reason that sounded super weird is that was buckshot. That was not slugs. So anyways, a few things about this, and this is going to be one of my separate like match lesson videos. I made that mistake at 11 o'clock the night before with whiskey in my hand when I was like, oh, there's going to be some slug shooting tomorrow. I should grab, and I have like one big case that has all of my like oddball ammo in it. So there's buckshot, slugs, and long range rifle ammo all lives in like one big box. Now, federal flight control and federal law enforcement low recoil slugs have an identical box with a slightly different picture on the front, and the shells are all the same damn color. So I just reached down in and I was like, oh, I need like, I'm sitting there drinking whiskey, cleaning guns, and I'm like, oh shit, I need some slugs for tomorrow. And I just reached into this box and pulled out like 4 boxes and put them in the bag of stuff I'm going to need for the next day.
Oh no.
That's how I kind of like sort, and I didn't check them.
Yeah, because you don't stuff your mags the night before in shotgun mags, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to load those like when you're a few shooters back. But I put them in like the box of like things I'm going to need for tomorrow. And so I made that mistake the night before at like 11 o'clock, and ended up costing me 45 seconds worth of failure to engage penalties.
Oh man,
it was quite stingy, and it was really a bummer because you go ahead and hit play on the rest of the stage if you're gonna show the whole thing, but. I shot the rest of the stage very, very well. Just like crushed the long range rifle. I think I had like 3 pickup shots with the shotgun here because we were shooting those little damn chicken things, which if you've never shot those, they're quite stingy.
Did you know that you had done the buckshot thing?
No.
Okay.
No, I had no idea because I if I was just standing out in the field shooting it, when I pressed that first trigger, I would have immediately gone, oh God, that's buckshot, taken out my mag, thrown it behind me and been like, somebody put slugs in that, I'll be back for it. but since I didn't, I just assumed that the reason it sounded weird was because I was down inside of the barrels.
Got it.
So this is something that was really interesting for this match. So there was.
So hang on, there's the PCSL target, right? The K-zone target, and exactly. So we're looking at white paper targets, and those are rifle
those
shots.
Those are rifle. Okay. Yeah, and so up here, I'm going to shoot across the back array here, and then I'm going to drop my mag, and then you get one shot. So I shoot the left one, drop my mag right here. And then you get one shot at this like C-zone target at like 100 yards up on a hill, and then you re-sling your rifle. So for both rifle and pistol, there were several what they called drop mag targets. So you would drop your mag, go into a target, you'd shoot it, and then you'd either holster or re-sling your rifle. And that was a way to, on the clock, verify to the RO that your rifle was unloaded because he can see you drop the mag. He can see you shoot that bullet out of it, so he knows that there's no other ammunition in the rifle. Then you can sling it without regard to the 180, although I try to do it in a way where I'm not pointing guns up range anyways. And then you'll see another drop mag pistol target here in just a second. So you run down over here, shot on the left, shot on the right, drop your mag, and then take a shot with the pistol. Also, it turns out it's really hard to drop a mag out of a pistol just by itself. Like I can actually do a whole reload faster than I can drop a mag.
Yeah.
Like the way that you do it, it's just very awkward. So a little phone cut out there. And so I think you can hear, unfortunately I can't hear from my own, but you can hear Andy behind me actually like calling out distances. So I think there was like a 460 or something, and there was a couple 330s. Then I think like a 200, a 260, a 430, and a 230. And then there was a 730-yard bonus target. Wasn't a mandatory target, so there's no failure to engage penalties. And my thing was, if I shoot this back position here really, really well, I'm going to take, me and AMAX decided if it's worth one shot, it's worth a correction. And so I took one shot. I missed it just over the shoulder, like right there. Second shot was just a skosh low. And then as I was breaking my third shot, I'm like, oh no, I'm falling for the trap. And I just like got up and I just like, while the third shot was still in the air, I just like got up. But I definitely shouldn't have taken any of the shots because it took me so long to get moved over.
I was going to say when I was watching this earlier, it looked like there was a lot of wasted time. So I was going to ask you, this is one of the questions I had written down. Like, would you have done it again? It sounds like no, right?
Absolutely not. No, it was definitely a trap. I mean, had I shifted over and nailed it on that first shot, of course.
So that was it right there, right?
Yeah, that was it. So I think I think we did the math on. I think it took me 7 seconds between, because we actually busted out the timer when they're done because we're curious. And I think it was 7 seconds between the last shot that I broke in the standard array and then the new one. So now you're just down to a 23-second bonus if you hit it. And then I took 3 shots on it, which was another, I think 5 or 7 seconds. I think it ended up being about 15 seconds of messing around.
Yeah, so that was 305 to 323.
Yeah, sounds about right. So 17 or something like that.
Yeah.
So like clearly like not the right move. But still shot the rifle really well and then walked down the stage. And I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. Woo! And Max is standing there looking at my magazine, and I'm like, that's not a good sign. He's like, I got bad news for you, buddy. So yeah, it was
So where did you end up on that stage as far as in the rank? Because with the buckshot fiasco and then with the 17 seconds wasted at the end there, you didn't hit the bonus.
Mm-hmm. It was still a stage win for Unlimited.
Oh, crazy.
Kyle Litzy took the overall stage win on that one. He crushed it. He did get the bonus, and so if I would have not broken a shot at the bonus target, my time would have been 183 on that stage. Mm-hmm. And Kyle's time with the 30-second bonus was 184. So he shot basically 30 seconds longer and hit the bonus target. And I got to say, like, that must have been some impressive damn shooting, because there was targets out to 5 something, and I mean, I was in open, I had a bipod, and it's pretty easy to just like mow across those things in a bipod. But I saw some really good shooters get really rolled up shooting off a monopod up there. So hats off to Kyle for putting that down. That was
Kyle's just a monster with the rifle, man.
I know, it's annoying. I want to hate him so bad, but he's so nice.
I know.
I want Kyle just to be an asshole so I can hate him, but he's just the nicest guy, and I can't. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. Come on, Kyle. Do a guy a favor.
Be a dick every once in a while.
So, yeah.
No, he's a beast.
He is
shooting off a magazine.
He absolutely is. It's crazy. All right, so I know it's a bonus target, but 730 yards in a 3-gun match with typically 5.56,
and it's a C zone.
It's a C zone. What do you think about that?
Well, so I think for this match it was super appropriate. Mm-hmm. I think because of the standard, like, it's only a bonus till somebody hits it. Well, yeah, kinda. I mean, there's a lot of bonus targets that are like everybody in the top 10 is going to shoot that. So I think in this match it was appropriate because it was like, hey, this is like way harder than any other rifle shot you're ever going to take in a 3-gun match. But if you hook up, you get 30 seconds back. And so I think, for the right swing for the fences kind of move on that stage, I think it's appropriate. I think it's good having it as a bonus target because you don't have a 15-second failure to engage penalty, because what that would have led to is everybody just going boom at the end, just swing over and send one in the general direction of that target.
Yeah.
And I don't like that, where it's like it makes sense to engage the target but not really shoot at it. So I think for this it was appropriate.
So you said that you and Amax and Andy Peterson had a bunch of talk, or a long talk about this. Is that what you guys were talking about there?
Well, we were talking about whether or not it was appropriate for us to shoot at it.
Right. Okay.
And the conclusion that we came to was, if you just crush the rest of the rifle, it's worth a shot. And if it's worth a shot, it's worth a correction on that shot. Mm-hmm. And so I got a little carried away with the third shot. But that was like the plan going in, was like swing over there, take a shot, whatever kind of impact you get, adjust based on that impact and take another shot, and then call it a day.
You know what I just realized is that the reason I haven't seen all these long range places and the big terrain of this range is that typically PCSL has like what, a 250 yard max on long range targets?
I think it's 200.
200? Okay.
Yep. And they have a for the 2-gun matches, there's also a minimum target size of I think 8 minutes.
Oh.
So yeah, so it's like, it's very like
red dot friendly.
Red dot friendly, like tactical engagement size. I mean, you're not shooting it like a 4-inch plate at 300 yards. You're like, if it's a 200 yard shot, it's like a 16-inch plate. Yeah. So and that also plays into like why, bipods and bags and all that other stuff aren't allowed in competition division, because like you just don't need them. Like the shooting's easy enough that you can just brace off whatever barricade's there and make the shot.
Gotcha. Okay. So so run under PCS rules, but still in the spirit of hard as hell, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, man. Here we go. Stage 3, I think here.
Cool. So this stage was cool. So this stage, there was actually like a trolley with 2 targets on it with a bunch of weights dragging behind, and a cord. You had to like pull it into position between these no shoots, load up your rifle and take a shot. A bunch of people got their rope tangled in the rifle like I did, managed to get out of it pretty cleanly. And then you run in the shoot house, hit the activator, and just absolutely go to town, hammering on some paper with the rifle, which is always a good time.
Yeah.
And they brought back the battering ram smashing open a door.
Yeah.
So this was really fun. Boom. And so pick up the shotgun here, and there was quite a bit of back and forth on. At the very end of the stage, you're going to see me stand up in a really weird position, and there were 2 knockover chicken targets.
Got a good chunk out of that wall.
Yeah. So go ahead and pause it for a second.
That's what you get for not making it riser height there.
Since moving to an open division shotgun, I have now shot 4 walls and a PRS bag with my shotgun. So it's getting rather expensive because I'm used to height over bore on a rifle. Like that's super standard. I'm used to that, but I'm used to shotgun sights being like on the top of the barrel. So side offset isn't a thing. And if you look at like how much beef there is, even with like a rail mounted, I'm running a Vortex Razor on that guy, so there's not like extra sight height. It's still like 2 inches to the center of the bore.
Yeah.
Like it's a not insignificant amount of side offset. So
let's watch this again. You got a little bit the first time, and then the second time you got even more. This is great.
I got lots the first time because it turns out that if you put an almost full diameter shot through a wall, that steals a lot of velocity. So I didn't get the.
Oh, that's what it was. So you're basically breaching the window there.
Yeah, that's why I had to shoot it the second time. But at the end of the stage here is right. Yeah, so you go through here, and at the end of the stage, I'm going to crawl up in this really messed up shooting position to shoot down over a wall. And there's those little tiny chicken targets that are probably like 2.5 inches wide, and they're the shape of a chicken with a big base on them. So that right there is a full diameter pattern. There was actually intact wall above the hole that I made.
No shit.
Yeah, it was quite rough.
Oh man.
But anyways, so some taller people could skip a position in the middle and just shoot those chickens from the last position. And I was like, that's a pretty huge competitive advantage, so I'm going to try it. And even with all of my climber shenanigans getting up in there, I was not tall enough. So right there, all that quick burst of fire was shooting down Lieutenant Dan. So if you've ever shot out at or shot one of the hardest out matches anymore, there's 2 full-size steel targets bolted together with like a 4-inch gap in between and just some bolts going from target.
Yeah, we had to carry that in the last one, like 100 yards or something.
Yeah, so that's Lieutenant Dan. He's called Lieutenant Dan because he ain't got no legs. And so in this one, we got a little Lieutenant Dan revenge where you got to shoot Lieutenant Dan over. And it turns out Lieutenant Dan is very heavy and very stable. So you needed a tight choke / fast splits. Several people did get him over in one shot. I think Eric Seo got him over one shot. Andy Peterson did. I think Amax took 2. I just took like 5 there because I was like, open the vision for the win, and just sprayed a bunch on his face. So anyway, so you shoot Lieutenant Dan, you can go ahead and hit play again.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about this part right here.
Okay, so this was a sort of zombie themed stage here, so you had to build a wall. And you guys should definitely keep an eye out on Brian Nelson's Instagram page because at some point he's going to put up his build a wall video, which is super worth watching. When you guys see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's quite amazing.
So quick pause on that one. I'll keep an eye out for Brian's video, but I was so Amax tagged me in the video of shooting that, and then of course he did the wall thing. And I saw a comment from Aaron Hayes said, you lost me at rebuilding the window. And like, I understand where he's coming from on that. And in like principle, I agree with him, but that should not sway you from shooting this match like that. No. That's silly for sure. There's some silliness and hard as hell. And that's like the kind of the theme of the match is some silliness. But, but when you look at the rest of the stage, like that one little piece doesn't seem like that huge of a deal.
Yeah, 100%. Like that was kind of like, everybody takes 15 seconds building this wall. It's sort of part of the thing. Keep the zombies out. So here's Lieutenant Dan. So then you had to go pick up Lieutenant Dan after you shot him down.
After you shot him, you got to bring him back.
And then carry him back. Yeah. So, because he got shot in the butt, I think. Lieutenant Dan got shot in the back. So then you pull up your pistol. Okay, so back up just a second. This is the one thing that I wasn't really a fan of on this stage. All of your staged guns were hanging on hooks. And so when you went around to the front, look where the pistol's hanging on the front of the stage.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's just like hanging on a screw, which is fine, but why? That was the only that for me was the only thing in the stage where I was like, dude, why? Like, why can't this just be in your holster? So that was the only thing that I wasn't really a fan of. But like, again, that's like a pretty minor thing to get pissy about.
Was that there when you went there the first time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I totally missed that because I was staring at the activator because I was thinking like, that activator is like a really cool activator.
Part of your make ready is you walk over there, you show them a clear chamber, you hammer down, and then you like hang it on the hook. So I don't know. I mean, it didn't really matter one way or the other, but I didn't feel like it added anything to it and just made it like weird to go like hang your pistol on a screw. But whatever. Anyways, and then you run back into the building, and then you load up and you shoot all those little green flipper things that were visible. So I think there was 8 of them total. So it was pretty much like run to each position and pop one, and then shoot like 3 from the last position. So and it was interesting because a lot of people had a lot of trouble with these because you just shot that whole stage, smashed down a wall, carried Lieutenant Dan. So then when you grab your pistol, your arms are really tired. So your hands are pumped, and now you're trying to take like really precise, like single shots at each window sort of thing. So it did what it was supposed to do. It was like make you really tired, then make you go take very hard aim shots as you're running through a building.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
It looks cool. And, I'm not sure if I've ever seen like where you shoot shotgun down a stage and then go back up to the start and then shoot pistol. Like I always see the down and the back, like they do that. Like you dump your shotgun at the end and then you shoot pistol all the way back, or vice versa or whatever. I don't think I've seen it that way. Have you seen it that way before?
Nothing that comes off the top of my head, but I got to say, honestly, I like this better.
Yeah.
In many ways, I found it to be way safer.
For sure.
I don't like retreat stages anyways, especially when you're trying to like get a lot of new people into a match.
Yep.
And then also, if this is like the zombie apocalypse, like tactical stage, like what's the saying that there's no 180 in the real world or whatever, like you're never actually going to run backwards, like pointing the pistol back like that. Like that's never actually going to be a thing. So it seems like a really weird skill. I've just never been a fan of retreat stages. I mean, like they're fine. I shoot them, I do fine, but it makes more sense to me, honestly, to just like dump your gun at the end, just run all the way back to the beginning and just like shoot it going back down again.
Yeah. For me spatially, I'm not really good at retreating, of like remembering how many steps I take backwards, versus forward. Like, cause like you're not looking, you're not looking, like things look different going backwards than they do forward kind of thing. But that said, like, what I thought was cool about that is like, you get 2 laps on the stage, which I thought was that's kind of neat.
It's super fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very clever.
It's really good.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So stage 4 here.
All right. So I'm about to take a giant shit on this match. Okay. So
what do you got in your hand there, man?
Brian. So that is I think it's an 8-pound dumbbell with 2 clay pigeons bungeed onto it, or rubber banded onto the end. And the rule is you have to shoot the entire stage holding the dumbbell. Your hand has to be touching the dumbbell when every shot is fired, is the way it was in the stage description. And if you break a clay, the clays are 60 seconds per clay penalty. Yeah. So if you break both the clays, it's 120 seconds added on your stage time.
So this reminds me of the previous Hard as Hell, where we had the I forgot what it was. It like a helicopter we're shooting out of?
Yeah, it was a mini clay, the bomber.
Yeah, the bomber. There we go. Yeah. We're shooting out of a bomber, and it was a mini clay, and like that sucked. Like I broke it for sure, but that sucked so bad because the penalty is so I think it was 100 seconds on that one. I can't remember. It's been years now.
That one was 60 as well.
Okay. But that adds like a full minute.
Because that was the only stage, or that was the only time in a match where I ever thought I had a chance at beating Tim Yackley, because he broke the clay on that stage and I didn't. So I was like 60 or like 58 seconds ahead of him going into stage 2. I'm like, whew, this is going to be the one. I'm finally going to take down Tim. And he just like chipped away at me a few seconds per stage and does what Tim Yackley does and beat me at the end. Son of a bitch.
Well, my whole thing on that was like it took like a perfectly good stage.
Yeah.
And then made it kind of silly.
In that case, not even a perfectly good stage, but like one of the coolest shotgun stages I've ever seen. So in that stage,
a very difficult stage too.
They built a mock bomber on a trailer, like enclosed with turret guns and everything else. And you ran through the bomber hitting activators, and there were clay throwers out in the field that threw clays at the bomber. So you were shooting clays that were flying at you in addition to like plate racks and everything else. And it was like this huge shotgun stage. And it would have been one of the coolest stages I've ever shot. And then Brian put the clay in there and just ruined it.
Yeah.
So that has been a Hard as Hell thing since I think the very first one.
Yes.
It
was an egg.
The first one. So it's been eggs for years. There were 2 years where it was an egg, then the clays. And so Brian brought it out for this one. I think at this point, honestly, he's just trolling people, and I think he puts it in because it pisses people off.
Well, it's like the loading the mag on the clock, right? Like every time I show up to a match, he does it. Like, fuck, Brian. Because I complain about it so much.
We didn't have to load any mags on the clock.
What?
So that was the thing here. So apparently, though, the way this one came about is they, when they were shooting the staff match, they shot this and they're like, wow, this stage is way easier than all the other stages. We need to make it harder. And Brian's like, I have an idea. So whoever said that, you owe me a beer. But anyway, so what it did was it took you can just hit play on this stage because nothing fun happens here. This is like the worst video ever. But so you basically spent the entire stage babysitting clay, and it was like, hey, it doesn't really matter what my stage time is. All I have to do is not break the clay. Like, just get through the stage and don't break the clay. And what it does is what it does is it turns it from a stage that you're trying to win to a stage that you're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And I've never been a fan of, and like, look, I'm not running. I'm just like, whatever, just get in the position, shoot the things. Who cares?
I do like the strategic use of the bag.
So shooting the rifle offhand with the clay and the targets in the back were really hard. They were like zebra targets with like 3 inches of white showing. I mean, they were like legit hard shots. So I was like, hey, open division. I have a big pump pillow thing that you use to like shoot rifle, like PRS rifles offhand. And I'm like, well, this is now like PRS rifle weight because I'm holding out a 8-pound weight on my rifle. So I'm like, I'm just going to put the bag under my elbow. And it kind of helped. I don't know. It seemed like it was either going to help, but it probably wasn't going to hurt. That was really hard. The red clays on the other swinger are no shoots.
Oh,
so that was quite sporty.
I was wondering why you weren't shooting those.
And then this is where everybody broke their clays because they would get too deep inside of this tunnel here, and they would basically smash their clays on the tunnel. This was such a pain. I'd never shot a shotgun sideways before. And apparently when you have a large offset dot on your shotgun and you shoot it sideways, your pattern doesn't fly where your dot points anymore. And it had never even occurred to me to like find out what happens when you do that. So this is something I'm going to have to go home and pattern in case this ever comes up again. I seriously doubt it will. I'm sure there's
it's that 2-inch offset we were talking about makes a huge difference.
Exactly. And then so you stashed your gun in there, ran around the corner, went through a tunnel.
Tyler cheering you on.
Yeah, Tyler cheering me on.
Dude,
and,
this I thought was hilarious. You're basically walking through the tunnels.
Dude, Taylor like barely had to duck.
Really?
She just like put her head down. Yeah. So you see, I loaded up my pistol. Here's another spot where I made a mistake because I ran the big stick. The stage description actually said 11 pistol shots, and then it had LOL in parentheses because these are 35-yard plate rack with one hand and a clay in your other hand. So that's pretty sporty.
Yeah.
And so this was actually something I had thought of before. I was like, hey, if the pistol shooting goes really bad, I'm going to lay that bag down and put the pistol on the bag and just shoot up PRS style. So I'm missing, and you see in a minute here, after I finally hook up, I pretty much ran the whole thing. And then I immediately went up to the 0 stage, which I could do because our squad isn't resetting. We're just shooting, then we're resetting. So I was like, hey, I'm not 100% sure that my pistol's actually zeroed because I was holding like a plate and a half low to get impacts on this thing and ran up there. And sure enough, at 15 yards, I'm shooting like 3 inches high.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, woo, that's like super not good. And it was just from changing bullet profile. So I had zeroed the gun a couple days earlier so I shoot gallant bullets, and I shoot 147 grain flat nose round tip bullet. So they're like a tapered bullet with a flat point on it, like a hollow point with no hollows. And I have switched recently to a full round nose profile because of some CZ stuff, because I have to have ammo for both guns now. And it turns out that the point of impact, just going from the flat point to the round nose, even staying with 147 grain bullets, was drastic. So
wow.
Zero with your ammo, not just with whatever's available when you go to zero the gun. So that cost me, I don't know, like 9 makeup shots there or something.
Yeah. You were way off. You were like 2.5, 3 plates high.
And I probably would have just shot the whole thing offhand if it would have been Zero, but I had enough wobble that my wobble zone was then bigger than the plate was at that distance, one-handed after the whole rest of the stage. So I'm like, I think these are high, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm like, I'm just going to go to plan B, because again, with the clay penalty and everything else, this whole stage was like, just physically get through the stage, and that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
But you cut the video off early though. You missed my favorite part of the entire video.
No, that was it.
Which is, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I cut it off earlier. Maybe I didn't hear it. But so Russ was ROing that stage.
Oh yeah, it showed it.
He's my favorite RO ever. But yeah, so I hand him the clays and he just goes choomp and like chips it on the side of his tablet.
Like, this one's broken.
This one's broken. So I had a momentary panic, and then I was like, I saw the clay and I was like, it might have been chipped, but it wasn't chipped.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. You can see him do it, like right there.
Yeah. Oh man. No, Russ is a good guy. Every time I walk up and Russ is RO on a stage, I'm psyched.
Nice. Well, okay, so Brian, we love you, but we don't love the things you do.
Yeah, we need the intervention about carrying things with ridiculous penalties.
Yeah, that I don't think is good. Also, I just realized I did the Russ thing when we weren't split screen. So let me try that again.
Oh, that's all right.
I just did it so I could see it. That's all that matters.
Oh yeah, there you go. So the good old sideways prone, that actually worked out pretty darn good.
I've never shot like that before.
So I'm like, yeah,
here it goes, right there.
Is like, oh hey, this one's chipped. Oh, what a good guy.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
All right. So, stage 5.
This giraffe of an RO is from, gosh darn it, where is he from? I can't remember. Anyways, he's from Europe somewhere. He's actually going to be the match director for PCC Worlds.
Oh.
But they flew across the pond to come shoot this match.
Oh, that's crazy.
So it's a super fun stage here. I really like this one. So just kind of like some quick hoser shotgun stuff. All the yellow targets here were optional shotgun pistol. And I said, hey, open shotgun. I'm just going to shoot them all. One shot in there. And as I was backing up, I kind of called a bad one.
Oh, because the K zone, right?
Because the K zone, that swinger was pretty sporty, but that worked out.
Is
and
that are those red with black? Are those no shoots?
Those are no shoots, and the black is there for people who are red green colorblind. That's why there's a big X on them. So yeah, so those are no shoots. So pretty standard kind of like base stage stuff over here, and you're going to see another drop mag target over here in a second. So this one was a clay surrounded by no shoot. So drop your mag, take one shot at that clay, holster up, and grab this sled. So this sled, I'm not 100% sure what it was.
That is a big dude.
Oh, dudes. Yeah. So go ahead and pause it for a second. So this sled, I think it was like a ramp from a trailer where like you'd put a tractor up into a trailer, I think is what it was. And then there's 2 full-size IPSC steel 3/4 inch targets with a bunch of chains holding everything together. And so when I first grabbed it and I pulled on it, I went, oh shit, it's caught on the fault line. And then I looked back and I said, oh shit, it's not caught on the fault line. Like it's just this heavy and terrible. So it was really rough. So go ahead and go for it here.
Hang on, could you game that by taking those 2 targets and putting them on the ramp?
So I think some people did. There was a lot of different strategies in terms of like what to do. I think some people did do it that way. I felt like the time wasn't going to be worth it, but I also didn't expect it to be like quite as hard as it was.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have done that because the time it takes to shovel those things onto there would have been like quite substantial. And they're like chained together, so it wouldn't have been a clean thing. So then you hop in the free candy van, you shoot a bunch of pistol stuff here. And when we were doing the stage walkthrough, I said, hey, how can I use my climber skills to defeat this stage? And I was like, do I have to use the ladder to get onto the roof of the van?
Yeah, so like, I don't even think you saw it, but like to the right of the door there's a roof.
Yeah, there's a ladder.
Oh, right there.
So, so you can hear me yell. And so it's going to get cut off here in a second because there was some camera shenanigans and they missed my rifle portion. But so Brian comes over and they're like, hey, Adam wants to climb onto the roof of the van without using a ladder. He thinks it'll be an advantage. Like, is that allowed? And he's like, all right, here's the deal. You can climb onto the roof of the ladder, or you can climb onto the roof of the van without using a ladder. But I'm going to assess a procedural penalty unless you yell parkour while you're doing it. And I'm like, that seems perfectly reasonable. So So that's why I yelled parkour onto the
I thought that's what you yelled.
Yeah.
And
So-
again, best run of your life on rifle, right? Because it wasn't caught on film.
Of course, that's how it always goes. You're just like, I murdered that, and your camera guy's like,
Yeah.
so, yeah, it actually was a quite good rifle run. I was pretty. Again, open rifle is cheating. Bipods are so nice. They're so nice.
Nice. All right.
So this was the all buckshot stage, not the shit I shot the buckshot on. And again,
Did you have any buckshot left over?
I did.
Okay.
So drop mag rifle. So you drop the mag, took that last shot,
And you
which
missed
I
it.
Missed. Yeah, and then slung up the rifle, and then you run up here. And this was one of those gamey things where it's like, if you knew the rules, you could shoot this position, hot holster, then pull out the shotgun and go to work, because otherwise you had to run all the way back across that stage to shoot that one pistol target.
Right.
So just shooting it and hot holstering saved you a bunch. And as you can see, pretty tight no shoots on all of the targets, including the spinner. So really important to know like how your buckshot patterns. And I got to say, it sucks that Flight Control Buck is the same color as the slugs, but hats off to Flight Control Buck, because on those slug targets I shot on stage 2 with the buckshot, those were all at like 80 yards, and I got at least one pellet on every single one of them with Flight Control Buck. So that's
No kidding.
quite impressive. So then, so reload, shoots this stuff, spinner with some no shoots behind it. So a lot of penalty targets. And then that red popper to the left there is another mag drop target. So you drop your mag, shoot that one, holster up, and run up the hill.
Dude, a no shoot behind a spinner. That's rude.
It was stingy. They do that up in Parma quite a bit too. There'll be a lot of no shoots. Well, in Parma, they had a no shoot behind a spinner, and there was a hole in the spinner.
That's not cool at all.
It was real. I just basically shot it like there was no shoot there. I'm like, I'll either get it or I won't, but there's nothing I can do about it. So yeah, shot across these guys. I think I actually got a freebie in here. So I got like a hit
you
call.
did.
Pulled off the target, and then
right here. That was free.
Yeah, that one is 100% free. So, but the RO yells hit, just move on. Don't argue with the RO. I looked at it after. That target in the back was quite hard. That was probably like a 4 or 5 inch target at like 150 yards. Off of like a pretty. So important lesson right there. You see, I went in that first position, flopped down on the bag, and I looked through the scope, and all I saw was black. And I was like, uh-oh, that's a problem. So luckily that bag, you can like shift it out of the way. It's not like a rail mounted bag.
It's got like, okay. So are you not on the bag right now?
I'm not on the bag right now. I'm down on the rail right now. The bag is sort of like off to the left. But another one of those things, just like thinking going in, like, you know, as I start adding accessories, like am I obstructing my view or anything like that? Luckily, this bag, this is one of those, it's a Weebad mini tack pack, I think it's called, but it's just a couple of straps to go over the handguard. It's a really light bag. So you can move it forward, back. You can move it out of the way. So you can kind of adjust on the clock. So I'd say like, perfect placement. It's not quite as sweet as a rail mounted bag, but it's way more versatile because you can just like, you know, you can move it out of the way if you've made a mistake and you're like, oh, I don't want this thing permanently attached here. Like we need to get this thing out of the way. So
that's also a nice thing about the JP handguard is there's no Picatinny on there to get the straps caught on. So you can just kind of slide it around.
Yeah, you can just slide it off.
Yeah.
And I actually run a little cord through one of the loops and tie a loop in it when I put that bag on there, just so it won't slide off the end of the barrel on accident when I'm like swinging the rifle around or something.
Oh, okay.
Because it's actually like too slick. So there's times where you might want to like dump it, but I haven't run into one yet. So if I'm putting that thing on and I don't have like a sling on here that would like contain the bag, then I'll put that little cord on there just to make sure if I'm not strapping it down super tight. Sometimes I do strap it down super tight and then it stays just fine.
Gotcha.
Yep. So this stage here had an interesting thing. So you're going to see me take 3 shots and then turn hard right and just like rail 2 of them out of the gun. So there's shot number 1, shot number 2, shot number 3, and then just like pop off to the right. So this is one of those General Akbar from Star Wars. It's a trap. So there was a spinner out there with a popper behind it. And you had to shoot the bottom of the spinner out of the way in order to hit the popper.
Oh.
If you spun the spinner, there was a 30-second penalty,
Oh.
which Kyle Litzy tried to do, just got it to horizontal and was like, this is not working out, and left. So it was one of those things where the time it would take to to engage the popper and actually hit it, because you'd have to like shoot the bottom, then shoot the top, then shoot the bottom again, then hit a follow-up shot on the popper. This is another drop mag target. Drop your mag, shoot that one, sling the rifle. So the time it would take to actually do that, if you like perfect execution, you would gain like 4 seconds, or you can just go pop and leave it alone and get your 20-second penalty and basically come out in a wash. So that tube was quite a bit heavier than I remember it being. I think I'm just getting old.
That looked really heavy. I got a question real quick. So our buddy that we talked about earlier, LA SWAT cop, did he go to war with that spinner and the popper combo?
I don't remember. I don't think anybody on the LA crew shot more than like 3 shots at it.
Okay.
I think everyone. I think a few people took like some real shots, and one person actually, there was like just like an inch of popper exposed over the bottom plate of the spinner, and one of the guys got that like pretty early in their squad. Like they got that 1-inch shot at like 230 yards, and shooting a red dot. It's pretty impressive. I don't think he was trying to do that. I think he was literally just trying to engage the target and just got that lucky shot. And then after that, everyone's like, "Oh, you can shoot it without shooting the spinner," and everyone like got sucked into the trap. But it was pretty funny to see the group think happen.
Yeah,
in real time.
Plus that mentality of I'm not going to engage just to engage. I'm going to eliminate everything. I'm going to kill them all. Mm-hmm. It's a good mentality to have when you're trying to kill everything, but it's not it's not a good mentality to have when there's math involved and time. Yeah, you know. So that was the reason for my question.
My very favorite LA SWAT cop moment of the entire thing was at the end. There was a melee shoot off where it was a squad shoot off where like your whole, like everybody individually ran up and shot like all 3 guns, depending on how many people in your squad, like big old huge shoot off thing. And then at the end you tagged your last person and everybody ran up and your whole squad engaged a spinner at the same time, which was like quite awesome to see. And so the LA guys, after they got it over, they just kept shooting on every rotation, getting just like, ah! And it was just like this barrage of fire. And in the middle of this barrage of just like hellacious fire, one of the dudes yells out at the top of his lungs, "Stop resisting!" It was so bad. It was so bad. Like I laughed super hard, and then I felt really bad.
Oh man.
It was so good. Oh, God, it was funny.
Well, at least they got a sense of humor.
Yeah, they do have a sense of humor, but
good for them.
Oh man. Yeah. So anyway, then you unsling, and then these targets were really hard to find. You'll see me spend a lot of time kind of coming in and going out of magnification. So go over to 10 power, shoot that one. Can't find it, and you can see me reach up and like zoom out to get a little more field of view, because it was just like these 3 targets in the middle of scrub oak, and there wasn't any really good like landmarks. So just like finding the targets was like a big portion of your stage.
Man, shooting from tires is super tough too.
Shooting from tires is super tough, and this is another spot where open division in the bag helped a lot, because if your handguard was on the tire in the front, you'd actually shoot the tire in the back. Yeah. So you had to like get a hand under there and some space. So the bag helped a lot there.
Are you double kneeling here?
Yeah, I'm double kneeling here. It was too high for a reverse kneel.
So double kneeling, not a good position. On tires, not a good position. Scrub oak, not ideal. Like this is a difficult thing here.
Another drop mag target.
Oh really?
Yep. Drop that and then run down the hill. So pause it for a second.
So hang on. Are you about to explain why you're dropping a mag and running downhill?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm about to explain a couple things, but you're dropping a mag to run down the hill because there's a squad resetting the base stage that you just shot to your left. So it's to keep them from getting swept with a loaded rifle.
Okay.
Is basically why there was a drop mag target right there, because they're like, how do we speed it up? Because otherwise the whole, like all of the reset has to wait for the guy to like finish running down the hill. But if we do the drop mag target right here, then he's going to have an unloaded rifle when he leaves his position, and we can have the whole squad set up there.
That's clever.
Yeah, so it was pretty good. So Ken on the right here, he was the RO on the stage, and he was also the RO on stage 2, which is a stage where I shot the buckshot on the stuff. So I want you to watch how fast Ken runs down this hill, because I'm running flat out, and I ran down. I did drop a mag and have to put my mag back in really quick. but ran flat out, put the mag in, dropped down, and he yelled on glass before I was on my scope. So he ran down there, set up a tripod, and found the target through binos. And he did this for every single shooter in the match. So I want you to imagine like 65-year-old USPSA RO doing this. So Ken like saved this stage. Like
so I actually noticed this
Johnny on the spot,
and when he shouted on glass, the first time I watched this, I backed it up to say like, well, where'd he get the glass from?
Yeah.
And
he brought it down.
I totally missed that he was running with it. So watch what happens here.
Yeah. This is like the most impressive ROing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. Cause I was watching you. I didn't even realize he was carrying the glass.
And I was not running slow. So Ken got third in unlimited, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Where's he out of?
I think he's out of Idaho somewhere. So I met him for the first time up at a what the heck am I thinking of? One of the Parma matches up there.
Team match or something.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first time. No, it was one of the regular Parma matches from quite a bit back, a couple years ago. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in Idaho. Might be Washington. I don't know. Ken, let us know, dude. Wherever he's from, he's a good kid.
Comment down below.
Yeah, comment down below. Get those clicks.
Right on. Well, so yeah, he hung with you there, and we're on down to stage 8.
So this is our last stage. So, oh my God, this was rough. Okay, go ahead.
Are you ready?
Hit go.
Stand by.
By the way, killer mustache on that RO.
Oh man, he was owning that. So a couple of shots off of there. I only shot those with the bag because I wanted the bag for the last position. I was like, well, I have it. I'm going to use it up here. Another drop mag target. They do a lot of these like really close.
Did you shoot a clay right there?
Yeah, it's a mini clay. So one of those little tiny like 2-inch diameter clays, and it's a hand thrown clay with a shotgun.
Nice.
Boom. And then I think I was just holding. I haven't looked at this hard enough to see where my pattern's sitting, but I think I was just holding off the no shoots too much to knock those down. So that was my fault.
That's an easy trap, right? Like you lean to one side and then you end up not hitting the target at all.
Flying clay. Remember when I said in the last podcast I need to learn flying clays with the dot?
Yep.
I have now.
Nice.
Then it's a little fun swinger thing, and then a couple hard targets over here, and then some paper, and then everything comes unglued. So this malfunction I'm about to get right here.
So hang on real quick. So you're not shooting your CZ anymore. Last time I think last time we talked, you were shooting your CZ, or have you been shooting this for a while?
I've been. This is the 2011 that I've had forever.
And you just had it cut for a dot, right?
So Aaron Brecky put a dot on it for me, and then that match where I had all the CZ trouble was because I didn't have this gun back yet. So I shot that. So that's why I switched to those round nose bullets, because the flat tips, the ogive or ogive or however the heck you say that, is too long in those bullets, and they stick in the lands and the CZ, cause all kinds of problems. So we're now shooting flat point bullets, and you have to load them just a little bit shorter for them to just plunk in and out of a barrel in a CZ without getting stuck in the lands. Now, this has led to a lot of problems. I've been working really hard not to have 2 different batches of 9mm ammo, because that would suck. I just want 9mm ammo. And I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to be able to get away with this, because these guys are loaded to 1.125, which is as long as you can run in a CZ and not have problems, like right to the line. So 1.5 is where you actually want to load them to. STI is like 1.35.
Right.
So I'm basically loading in the middle, and I actually lose a pretty significant amount of accuracy in the STI just by bumping them back 5,000s or 10,000s. But it allows me to have 1 load of ammo. But I think what's happening here, because I had this malfunction 3 times in the match, and this is the first time I've shot a bunch of those over, like, getting the gun dirty and everything else. And what's happening is the bullet's coming up and it's hitting the feed ramp and it's just sticking in the top of the barrel in the chamber. It's called a 3-point malfunction. So it's an easy clear, because you just open the chamber and dump that round out really quick, but still sucks. So I think what I'm going to end up having to do is have long ammo for the STI and short ammo for the CZ, which is really going to be a bummer. So But anyway, so I have this malfunction here. So go ahead and hit play.
Hang on real quick. Earlier when you were talking about the pistol red dot and stuff and re-zeroing, you know, I preach all the time when people switch 55 grain ammo in their rifle, like you need to go re-zero because not all 55 grain is created equal. And I think you've proven here that not all 9mm is created equal either.
Not all anything is created equal. You get different slugs, you need to know. If you get different buckshot stuff, you need to repattern it. Or not buckshot, birdshot, you need to repattern your birdshot. Ammo is different. Yep. And different ammo does different stuff.
It does.
So I had that malfunction. I shot through here. I took 3 shots of the clay, which put me over, there's a little flying clay here, which put me over my limit. So then I ran it dry. I had to do a reload.
She said that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so I was like, that's unfortunate. And then when I did that reload, the next target is the drop mag target.
Right.
Which is
one for that.
No-shoot thing. So I did my drop mag as I came across and didn't realize I just had the same malfunction.
Oh, so you didn't have any rounds in there.
So I didn't have any more rounds in there. So then I had to pick up my mag out of the sand. So that's when I was like, oh no, because it's just like ankle deep beach sand there.
Yeah.
And so I just took this mag full of sand, stuffed it in the gun. And you see when I'm chambering the round, I'm actually have my gun like fully sideways and really weird. That's because I'm trying to literally pour sand out of my chamber as I'm getting that thing in. And then I missed the goddamn target. I was so pissed at myself. I was like, you idiot. Like, what were you thinking?
So, okay. So when I watched this, I was like, all right, I gotta ask Adam, why did you not just run? Why did you pick up that mag?
I don't know, Dave. I don't know.
Dude, when you get on the clock, man, it's so
obviously wasted more than 15 seconds there messing around.
100%.
It would have been a 15-second FTE. So clearly the thing to do would have been like, well, that mag's in the sand. It's in the sand because I just had a malfunction. It's definitely not going to run if I put that sandy mag back in the gun.
Yeah.
Obviously the move is like, well, I guess we're not shooting at that and eat your penalty. But I just decided not to. I don't know.
Oh no.
Oh no.
And then, yeah.
I love the oh no.
Yeah, I knew this was and you can hear Tyler yelling at me like, you should just take your penalty.
Everyone in the crowd's like, Adam, no, stop.
And this is the only time I ever like didn't quite get back on track where I didn't rack the rifle.
Yeah, so that's another good point. I was thinking about this when you said it earlier. Like you said that the flavor of this match is not can you do everything perfect? It's like can you not F up, right? So, and then not let your F ups be a snowball for the rest of the stage. And that's exactly what happens right here is like you had that pistol thing in your head.
Effect. Yeah.
Yep. And then
I'm running out of that position.
This is so unriser right here, by the way. Like,
forgetting to rack the
rifle. Yeah. When you did that, I was like, whoa, that's something I would do.
Yeah. So, and then some burner paper.
And then you're shooting angry.
On the side here. Yo, I'm shooting angry for sure. 100%. And then these targets were a couple of little targets at like 120. Just didn't give that one enough respect. And then this was a zone steel at like 350. So it was like quite a poke on this first one. And then the next one was 430, I believe it was. And I think it was a C zone. And then the next one up the hill that I took a few shots at was 490, and it was another C zone. Luckily, everything had those what are the flashing the magneto speeds?
Yeah,
which any steel past 300 yards should have magneto speeds across the board, no matter what.
Yeah, those things are legit.
They're so much nicer. So, yeah, so that was a match stage for stage.
So, were you candy caning there?
Yeah, but I put 14 burner over the top of the good stuff. Because I didn't want to just like spit a bunch of 69s into the dirt. So
yeah, so that's why I was asking. I was like, that seems like because you didn't switch mags, and typically I'll switch mags. But yeah, you just nailed it right there, I guess.
Yeah. So I figured at 35, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 targets out there. That gives me 14 in the first one. So I got like 12, 15 makeup shots or something like that. And I did have a little 20 rounder just like tucked in my back pocket just in case it went like catastrophically wrong.
20 rounder of like 69s?
Yeah, 69s just in case because that last position wasn't super sweet and the targets were like, it's hard. I mean, 490 on a C-zone
And
with
you're a
223 is like, you know, no matter what you say, that's a hard shot.
Yeah.
So, especially after you just got done doing all that stuff. So,
And boning your pistol.
yeah, I'm boning my pistol. Yeah, and there was a lot of buckshot shit talk in here. So Brian, talked a lot about the match at awards, and he stood up there and he's like, "Yeah, there were some really hard slug targets in this match. So hard that some top placing shooters decided to shoot buckshot at him."
So I'm going to increase my chances.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time.
I love it, man. So hard as hell. Happy it's back.
Yeah, 100%. It's been my favorite match for years. It really kind of has like a special place in my heart because that's, like the Sups range, that whole crew, like Brian and all those guys, like that's sort of where my 3-gun really took off, like going down there and taking a TPC class, eventually becoming an instructor down there, getting like a second place finish to Brian way back in the day was like kind of the thing that got me sponsored, like doing that in front of the Vortex guys. And so that match has been like kind of a kicking off point for a lot of stuff. That was my first major match when I got first place in limited way back in the day. I can't remember when it was. So I have my match finishes at hard as hell is first, second, third, fifth, second, first. And the second places are to Brian Nelson and Tim Yackley. So I feel pretty good about both of those.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. Two shooters that you're happy to come in second on. Yeah. They're great shooters.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's awesome, man. I do love watching the footage, and I appreciate you breaking it down with us here and being open to that. Not many people would be willing to do it. That's why I sprung it on you at the last minute. So, so that was good, man. That was fun.
Yeah, I saw you pulling up my YouTube pages. We're like getting ready. I'm like, what is Dave doing?
Dave's got some new technology he wants to play with.
Yeah, 100%. But,
well, so
yeah,
so takeaways from the match, man. What do you got going?
It worked a lot. So I think I learned, the last podcast that we did about Rocky Mountain, I had some like very specific like training takeaways from that. I applied those and learned what I needed to learn. So, the slug shooting that I did do with actual slugs went well. I didn't have any slug malfunctions. Did have a couple random shotgun malfunctions, just a click and rack it again. I'm not sure what's going on there. I got to find out. I got my the flying clays were great. I didn't miss any of those, which I did in the last match. So, personally, I learned from the last match. I applied it to this match. Bettered my finish and I'm pretty stoked. But like overall, my takeaway is this match is just as fun as I remember it being. Cause I just like, I just love these really big physical matches. And like I said, like you get off the stage and people are like, how'd you do? And you're like, it could be anywhere between 60 and 100%. Like, I'm not really sure. I don't think it's under 40. So it's pretty, but like you get off and you never like get done with a stage and you're like, yes, crush that stage. Like, that's not how this match goes. Like you get done with the stage and you're like, we'll see. And then you watch other people shoot and you're like, oh, actually they're pretty good. And it's just a lot of just like dealing, just like figuring out, you're pretty much always running around with a rifle on your back. So, you're walking the stage, you're in USPSA mode, like, yeah, I'm going to shoot this super aggressive on the way through this port. And then you get there and you're like rifle, shotgun, mags, or clap because you just carried Lieutenant down 50 yards. And you're just like, I can just stand in this window and shoot the targets and then walk away. Like that's an option too. So yeah, it's my favorite type of match, man. The just big physical doing crazy stuff. Honestly, the only thing in the match that I was like, Brian, bro, was just like the clays on the weight. Even just having the weight, I think would have been fine. It's like, hey, here's another challenge. You got to carry this weight while you shoot the stage. That's fine. I think just like extra harsh penalties where it's like, if you mess up this thing, it'll just like, you're going to have a 50% stage like instantly.
For something that's not even shooting.
Yeah. And even when it is shooting. So there was the last time I shot Superstition, there was a stage where the whole stage was there's 2 plate racks in a stage and like a C zone target at like 50 yards. And you started with the rifle with 1 round in it. and you went bang on the C zone, you dropped it, you drew your pistol, you shot the 2 plate racks, and then you reholstered and you did it again like a little bit further back, and you had like 3 runs that stage, which I was already like kind of mad about the stage because I was like, I drove 14 hours to shoot 2 plate racks 3 times. Like I was a little bent about that, like anyways, but the way the penalties worked out and the way the time was on the stage. So winning stage time, I remember because I did all the math on it. Winning stage time was Nate Staskowitz put down an 18-second run on that stage. So that's winning stage time. If you miss that plate, which you're going to have to just take one shot at and drop your rifle, it's a 20-second penalty. So if you miss that plate on any run, you're almost certainly going to zero the stage. And then there was like another one where there was like a popper with a hole in it. And you had to shoot a popper behind that popper, like through the hole. And if you shot the big popper, it triggered like 5 no-shoot swingers on a stage. So a stage that you'd normally just run through and just like spraying bullets. The down has like a million no-shoots. And it was the same kind of thing where it's like, if you mess up this one shot, you're probably going to zero the stage. And I'm not a fan of that. I don't like penalties where you do this one thing wrong and it's like, yeah, you just lost like 100 points. So I like, penalties are fine. Harsh penalties are fine. Penalties that can like wreck your match with a single shot or you like chip the clay. Not a big fan of that.
It reminds me of like a clickbaity YouTube title. This one trick, shooters hate it.
Yeah, 100%. It's like this one trick. Don't break the clay. And that's the thing. Like that one stage was like by far my worst finish. But I was like, if I just get through the stage without breaking the clay, I'm going to be fine. Because a bunch of other people are going to break the clay. All I have to do is survive the stage without breaking the clay. And it just kind of took the fun out of that one stage. But everything else about the match I loved. I love the big super physical stages. I love that, people like Tom and Russ were there staffing. It was super good. The on-off schedule, like only shooting when your squad is shooting and then just resetting for the next squad. I thought that was awesome. I would love to see that at some more matches because it made the shooting part so much more chill because you're not kind of like scrambling, trying to like make sure you're getting your reset done while getting your gear ready and trying to memorize your stage. You're just doing your shooting part. And when you're done shooting your part, you're just like hanging out, talking with your friends, casually reloading mags for the next stage. And then when it's time to reset, you're just chilling there with some gloves and a bunch of tape in your pocket and you're just going down and resetting.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
That division of labor was really nice.
Of all of like the unique squatting ideas that have come out of SUPS area, I think that one sounds like the coolest. Like the worst, I think, is open squatting.
Yeah,
it's just
we gave Brian a lot of shit about open squatting. that one did not work out.
Oh man, Red October was horrible. Every time they tried, it's so bad. Like there's just clumps of LARPers everywhere. It's crazy.
Yep. So this one was way better in open squatting. Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
Like I would like to shoot a match like that. I bet. And like just thinking like big picture, couldn't you fit like twice as many people there as well?
I don't know. I don't live in that world enough. Like I've RO'd a whole bunch, but I've never like been a match director and anything like that. So I'm not really sure squad wise. I don't think you really can because
it's still people behind you, right?
You still have people behind you. You still have the same amount of squads. So it was basically just a standard on-off schedule, except when you're on your off schedule, you're resetting. So
so that doesn't add double capacity.
Yeah, I don't think it actually increases capacity. It just makes it like kind of more fun, honestly. Like I just thought it was better.
That's pretty cool. Cool. I'd like to shoot a match like that. Yeah, I like that concept. So glad to hear it worked out well. All right, well, Adam, I think that about covers Hard as Hell 2022. I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, it's back. I have heard it's confirmed. It's back for 23. It's
nice.
Sticking around. It's going to be a thing again.
It's a good end to the year. It's a good cap on a match year, right?
It really is.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for being here. Always appreciate you breaking down the matches you shoot, and it's always super interesting. And this I thought was really fun with the video format. So hopefully you thought that too if you're listening to the show, and let me know what you think. Thanks, Adam.
You bet.
Can you believe it's freaking December already? It is the time of year to evaluate your performance for 2022 and set your sights on improving the areas that you need to improve on and make a plan to get there for 2023. For many of us, that can be improved general physical preparedness and our speed and agility. I've been doing this with the programming provided by the Tactical Games Training in their speed and agility program designed specifically for action shooting. There's a link in the show notes to sign up and join the rest of us that are on the program. When you do, you'll get access to the Tactical Games Training app and world-class programming from performance specialist Amanda Cherry. Every day there's a new workout for you to accomplish that focuses on building fast twitch muscles while also strengthening joints and tendons. Don't wait for the new year. That's Amateur Hour. Start now. The Three Gun Show is proud to be a part of the Firearms Radio Network. If you like this type of content, help us grow the show and the shooting sports by sharing with a friend. Just open the podcast app you're using right now and hit that share button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the range.